Good morning, Internet. This is Tom, Negotiating with Jesus. Going to do 2 exercises. Click on the link if you don't want to hear somebody talking. I seem to talk a little rather than just lay out an exercise and explain it and play it. The link will be Sean Daniel. So the 2 Daniels, Daniel Seraph, seems to me a little more straightforward, a little more serious. Sean Daniel, quirky, funny. He's more the Joe Walsh, kind of an odd character. He's kind of funny, but the link is his triad exercise higher up, and I think triads higher up are almost used more in some way. The main body of the guitar, then the triads lower, so you play a D and an E. You play an E in this shape. So Daniel Seraph would show you that an E, as you go up the scale using this B string, here's an E, C, D, E. E major, if you want to play the key of E major, you have to go Do, Re, Mi. Oops, the scale starts here. For Daniel Seraph, it would go major, minor, and you're playing the whole step, half step, minor, minor, major, minor. What just happened? Major. It's major, major. So it goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And you can see if I was playing in the key of C, that diminished would be down here. But everything's moved up 2 whole steps. C, D, E, 2 whole steps. Now, if you're playing an acoustic, an electric, this isn't awkward. Acoustic, of course it's awkward. They're made to be played more open string. Cowboy chords, it's not an insult. It is actually why the acoustic is awesome. Because the cowboy chords you can take with you to the beach. Take an acoustic guitar and get people to sing along with you, because performance is ultimately what we're after. We want to play. We want to play. We don't want to work the guitar. Would you like to go home and work the guitar? No, I'd like to go home and play the guitar. So that's the thing. So Daniel Seraph showed me this thing, and I get it now. So it's being incorporated, but like a beginner with this advanced technique, I have to do it over and over. So the month of February, triads from the 2 Daniels. Let's do the other Daniel. The other Daniel, Sean Daniel, link in the description. The key of E is the key of 2025. So he said that funny, quirky thing. And then he showed you why E is interesting and important, because the E and the B strings are part of the E chord. These cowboy chords, where an acoustic just is beautiful because it can ring out these big chords with long open strings. Open strings are awesome. Acoustic guitar is awesome. Cowboy chords are awesome. Don't let people mock you. He switched it up, so you're playing with your last 3 fingers instead of your first 3, because good players start manipulating their fingers, switching them up, so they can move chords, because chords are movable. He just wants to play just these strings, because the E string, it is so important in the key of E, you can let it ring out all day long. This is an E string, this is an E string. The B, so what's an E made up of? E, F, G, A, B, E, G, B. The G, because of the way whole step, half step, whole step, the G ends up being sharp, a G sharp. I want to work on the key of C so that I can really get no sharps, no flats, and just really get these scales down and note memorization, which is a whole thing. The major scale: F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, do, re, mi. You can play it by feel, by ear. At some point you might want to know what you're sharpening and flattening. So an E has 4 sharps. 4 sharps. Key of E. I'm going to do one more exercise after this. He says, look at this. You need to know the key of the E shape and the E minor shape. You flatten that third. I lifted to flatten the third, but I have to hold the E note, the A note. E, F sharp has an A in it. So just like Daniel Seraph taught, it's going to be major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, then back to the octave, which is the major we started with. And ultimately, all you want to do is be able to play. This is a song. You can start singing. So ultimately, you want to play the guitar. But why is E the key of 2025? You can let all these strings ring out. That's the joy, the beauty of the acoustic. So, major, minor. So you're dragging along because bar chords, movable chords, you have to watch out that you don't play notes that don't belong. If you don't bring your index along, it doesn't work without bringing. Listen to that. That's important. Major, minor, minor. In the key of E, these are the chords that use the sharps and natural notes that fit with the key of E. There's going to be 4 sharps. If you don't take care of your business, put those sharps where they belong, it gets a little clunky. That's clunky. Then people at the beach, when they're singing with you, are like, oh, this guy doesn't know guitar like we thought he did. Whoops, what happened? Half step. So the A fits in the E-shaped A chord. So you could go. I'm just going to do this. I'm getting lost. I should just focus on what I'm doing. Minor, minor shape, major shape. Whoops, it's only a half step. See, I can understand it. I have to incorporate it, that it is part of me. Half step, whole step. Why is E the key of 2025. Because the E, the B, and the E, they fit because of the way the guitar's laid out. They fit the key of E. Your fingers, once you become good, you start understanding that your fingers, you want to minimize, or you can manipulate your fingers to do difficult things, but you also know all the tricks. So the link that I'm putting in here, Sean Daniel says this is a trick. Here's an insider trick. How you been? Haven't seen you for a while. That might be part of that song. Oops. How did that go? I don't even know. Oh yeah, it was minor. It was a minor shape. So obviously I'm still learning. This isn't a tutorial. Go to Sean Daniel. I'm still struggling to incorporate all this. But you can see how close, as a pretty decent guitar player, I'm average, I'm close to having this be super useful. It's super useful to get my fingers are cooperative, but my brain still, I'll get confused about which shape I'm supposed to be using. You're only using the minor and the major. So you're doing this little manipulation. It's either a major chord or a minor chord. So you lift this, but you don't play without him. This guy has to be dragged along. You have to use this guy. Then we just did a minor. Now we're on a diminished. So diminished I never use. Then back to the eighth note. The eighth note on the scale becomes an E. So you're starting over again. That's the whole Western music system. It just goes on indefinitely. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp. E, back to E. So do I have all those memorized? No. So I watched a video and the guy said if you want to be an intermediate level, you have to have all the scales, major and minor, that you can just play them. So for me to level up, that's a task. So I can see the bad news is I have to put more hours into exercises, not playing, but practicing. And that is the thing that distinguishes the good players from the mediocre players, is the amount of time they put on the field practicing. Jerry Rice, the elite football player, practiced more than anybody else. So then when he played, he could do magical things. So it's every good guitar player. And that's the thing that you don't see when you watch a tutorial, is these guys have practiced a lot and they can do all the scales. So every day I'm doing my pentatonic scale. Right now I'm practicing. I have to keep doing that. I can't skip it. I have to do some note memorization. And then I also want to do the pentatonic going down. So that's the video. Oh, I was going to do one more thing quick. it works with A too. So the A shape and the A minor shape. But we're going to focus on these three strings, middle strings. A, minor, minor, major, major, minor. Then we are on the diminished. So it's like a minor, but you have to also flatten the fifth. Then back to the A. It works with the A shape. Whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step. What did I say this was? And then half step. There you go. That's it for today. I'm going to keep practicing. I have songs that I have to practice. So I have 8 songs, and I'm going to try and find a place to play on the boardwalk, Wildwood, when I have a conference. It's a church conference. I don't have a lot of business at the conference. So I might just be blowing it off and try and be a street musician, just playing my 8 songs in front of people, because playing game day is what this really is about. So you're doing the practice so that you can play. So keep practicing. That is key. I'm going to do it. You do it with me.